What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Another fun deck for you guys here. This one, we look at one I like to call Underworld Knights. It's centered around a couple creatures that basically force you to attack every turn. First of which is the Underworld Ragehound. It's a 3/1 for 2 and attacks each combat if able. The 1 toughness means obviously that any creature with even 1 power can just block and kill it. But it does have escape, so we can always just bring it back later, and then it becomes a 4/2. And the other creature we're focusing on here is Oathsworn Knight. It's a 3 mana, basically 4/4, as it enters with 4+1/+1 counters on it. Also attacks each combat if able, and if damage will be dealt to it, instead you remove a +1/+1 counter from it instead. And so the way we're trying to leverage these is with things like Kaya's Ghost Form, because obviously these creatures are very likely to die at some point quickly. So this way we just get them back and we just keep attacking turn after turn. We do have the aggressive 1-drop here, Knight of the Ebon Legion. We have Lash of Thorns, which buffs up our creatures as they have to attack every turn. It also gives them Death Touch, so if they do have a large creature to block with or counters have been removed, whatever the case may be, we can just give our own creature Death Touch and finish off whatever they block with. Probably not what they're expecting. Or if they choose not to block it, then we get in for an extra couple points of damage. And that's really what we're trying to do, is be aggressive and get as much damage across as possible. And extra 2 here and 2 there really adds up. Speaking of getting extra 2 damage across, we also are running the full playset of Shocks, which allows us some reach, and also lets us clear out any creatures in the early turns, so we can hopefully attack in with our creatures without them even having the option to block. We also have 3 Shadow Spears, just being able to buff up these creatures that have to attack and give them lifelink and trample goes a long way. 2 Blade Brands, just for also some more of that Death Touch kind of removal, so to speak. It also has the upside of drawing us a card, so it replaces itself. We're going to run 3 Scorching Dragonfires as a way to deal with creatures or planeswalkers. Also running a couple of Kroxa, just kind of another way for us to do a little bit of main deck hand disruption, but also kind of a late game finisher. If they keep removing our creatures that have to attack every turn, then we get the 6/6 Kroxa down, and hopefully dealing 3 points of damage every time it attacks. And for some more removal and a little bit of life gain later on, we've got the 3 Murderous Riders. If the game does go on for a little bit longer, we're running 2 Castle Locthwains. And right now at the mana base, we have 6 Swamps, 6 Mountains, of course all 4 Blood Crypts, just 3 Temple of Malice, because we want to try to play on curve as much as possible, and so the center's tapped. And 2 Fabled Passage, just for a little bit of extra fixing. And go over the sideboard real quick. I'm going to run all the hand disruption here and Agonizing Remorse. I got 2 Mire Tritons, just for a little bit of life gain and having a Death Touch creature. 3 Noxious Grasp for all the green and white creatures and planeswalkers that we're going to want to deal with. A couple Fries for just extra removal for white and blue. 2 Sorcerous Spyglass for any planeswalkers or any cards with activated ability like Witch's Oven. 1 of Elspeth's Nightmare. It does allow us to remove creatures in the early turn, so we can attack in with our must-attack creatures. And also a little bit of hand disruption, and if they are running any sort of escape or anything like that, we also get to exile their graveyard. And then just as a more utility removal, the 4th Murderous Rider. Alright, so that's pretty much the deck. Pretty simple, aggressive, the way Rakdos likes it. And let's go ahead and jump into some best of 3. Underworld Knights. Best of 3 Arena Standard. So just trying to find a way to make these cards playable that otherwise don't really see a whole lot of play. Oathsworn Knight does see a little bit of play sometimes, but I don't think I really come up against the Ragehound at all myself. Okay, so we got the turn 1 Knight and turn 3 Oathsworn Knight. A little bit of removal and card draw. The game drags on a little bit. So hand seems great. Definitely going to shock this in and show them what we're about. And we can hold up Lash of Thorns or Shock, depending on what our opponent leads with. Up against Azariah. Okay, basic mountain. Let's go ahead and play this tapped. Swing for 1 and pass. Just hold up this shock here. Since they are in red, there's a good chance they're playing creatures themselves. If they play something with 2 or less toughness, we'll definitely want to clear it out of the way right away. Crashing Drawbridge. Okay, this is probably a little bit of a bigger red deck. Probably trying to haste in like a Drakdos here in a little bit. So let's get our Knight down, and then we can hold up Lash of Thorns or an activated ability on our Knight of Ebon Legion next turn. Let's see if our opponent has much to do before Drakdos comes down, or what other spicy red creatures they might be running. Crashing Drawbridge. Can I give a haste to the Chandra Spitfire? It's only attacking for 1. Yeah, it's a big decision here. Well, we obviously have to attack with our Oathsworn Knight next turn. And no reason not to attack with the Knight of Ebon Legion as well. Getting a little flooded here, but it's alright. It just means we'll be able to activate our Castle Locthwain sooner rather than later. Definitely don't need more lands. Well, let's crash in. Definitely all in on trying to race our opponent. See if they want to trade their drawbridge here. Can't imagine they block with the Spitfire at all. Okay, yeah, just activate it. Get in for an extra 3. Get a counter on it. Knock our opponent down to 11. They're really drawing out their priority. Obviously, they do get to Drakdos, then that will pretty much wipe us out. So we need to get to finish them off before they get to that point. Haven't shown us much removal yet, so we'll see what they have up their sleeve. I'm assuming this is a Drakdos deck. I don't know why else you'd want to run Crashing Drawbridge in mono red. Of course, Chandra's Spitfire is a bit of a interesting inclusion there, since typically you want to run that with things like Cavalcade, so you can punch through for a ton of damage at once. We're not running any flyers ourselves, so not really much ways of dealing with it. A 3/3 that also gets a buff for non-combat damage. Okay. Get in for 1, sure. I think the mono red player would play a little bit faster, but maybe they're new. Wow, more land. Okay, definitely want to get this failed passage down and thin our deck so we can stop drawing all these lands. Nothing in particular we need. We'll just grab a swamp just because. Then we'll have Shock plus Lash of Thorns at the ready. Or we could just draw a card, although it's a little dangerous against mono red. Because we would be taking, what, 5 damage? Double blocking. No reason to play any of our spells. Take the trades. Happy with that. And pass the turn. Hopefully we can save the shock just to either finish them off, or if they do happen to play something lower on the curve here. Chandra's Outrage. Sure. Getting the buff in on their Spitfire as well. But of course, anytime the knight is dealt damage, the only thing that happens to it is you remove a counter. So now instead of a 4/4, we have a 3/3. So do we have lethal here? I think we do. Buff up our Knight of Ebon Legion multiple times. And that's it. Oh yeah, get that old double activation on Knight of the Ebon Legion. Always feels good. Okay, our opponent on some mono red. Mid-range, big stuff. We saw one ground creature and one flyer and the drawbridge. Doesn't like that. Well, that does hit the Chandra Spitfire before damage. I don't think we want these guys. I think we're going to bring in the Tritons just for a little bit of life gain. And if they are a little more ground-based, it does give us a nice blocker. Not sure we need too much else here. Shock is pretty mediocre. Could shave one for the Nightmare, and then hopefully we can hit their Spitfire with this. Could bring in the 4th Murderous Rider, but then losing 2 life can be a little risky. I don't know if Agonized Remorse is worth it in this matchup. Seem like they're more about the creatures, so I think we'll just focus on the battlefield and not what's in their hand. Alright, yeah, we got double swamp action going on. Turn 1 Knight, turn 2 Triton, turn 3 Oathsworn Knight. And then we can ghost form whatever we want and see what else we draw along the way. And seems great. We even got some sweet removal in the Scorching Dragonfire. Another way to answer their Spitfire. Like our opponent might have had something, but chose not to play it. Unless they're just in full control mode here for some reason. Ember Hauler. Well, that can definitely kill our Knight of Ebon Legion. We can let them. We can ghost form it, but then we're not really doing much else. We'll just go ahead and kill it. Let's try to keep their board as clear as possible. Next turn, I think we'll just go with the Oathsworn Knight. If we draw another land, we can follow that up with Mire Triton and the Rage Hound at the same time. 3 mana and no play. Curious. Another Knight of Ebon Legion, perfect. So we could try to activate it, but our opponent could have removal in response, and we'd basically just be wasting our turn. So safe play is definitely just go in for 1. And play our Oathsworn Knights. And say go. Next turn we have some options. Gotta have some burn in their hand. Okay, another elemental. We'll just hold up mana for the activation and see how they block. If they block the Ebon Legion, we'll definitely activate it. If not, I think we'll just get some more creatures down. Okay. We hit them for 5, so the Knight will get a counter anyway. Okay, so they're playing a sweeper. Maybe we'll go Swarm the Knight, since that's our strongest creature here. Obviously the Oathsworn Knight is going to be harder for them to deal with as well. Another Wildfire Elemental. And if they attack, we'll definitely not block. We'll take the 3. Get our lands down so we have most options available to us. Okay, we have attack with 2. It's also definitely attacking with the Knight of Ebon Legion as well. Hold up activation, and then we can also play another one. And just hope they don't have something like a Storm's Wrath. So we have 3 creatures in hand. Don't want to overcommit here. But I'm fine with playing at least one more Knight until they do show us a sweeper. Can obviously trade with the Rage Hound. Otherwise, we're going to hit him pretty hard. Sure. We'll go for the activation. Coming down to 4. Certainly a case for not playing it. Although if they do have a Wrath, then that's just more cards for us to escape the Rage Hound. But most likely they just have more creatures, and we just need to out-creature them so we can push damage across these last 4 points. Of course, we do have 3 shocks in the deck still. And a little bit of removal for this elemental. Okay, they're just gonna go all in on the elemental, looks like. Infuriate, plus 3 cards in hand. We're not blocking. I don't think you can hit me for 20. Alright, that's all our opponent had. Alright guys, just a nice short and sweet one this time. Rakdos Aggro. Underworld Knights. I hope you guys give it a try. It's a pretty fun, aggressive deck. It does have some nice late game with Kroxa and escaping the Rage Hound and things like that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care.